Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. We had our first upset of the college football season last night as the Tar Heels of North Carolina lost by the score of 17-10 to the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Now, I still say Virginia Tech head coach Justin Fuente is on the hot seat. That win last night certainly helped him a little bit, but if they still finish the season 6-6 or 7-5, even though they won last night, I still say he will end up getting fired. Now, if you have been following along with the channel, I was not surprised by that game last night. I did my North Carolina season preview back in June or July, and maybe somebody can watch this video and go back and watch that video and tell me I'm wrong, but I believe in the video I said North Carolina was not a top 10 team. They were a 9-win team, maybe, even though every game on their schedule was winnable. I also thought that, with the exception of a couple of lower tier FBS, FCS schools, every game on their schedule was also losable, and it was because of the fact Mack Brown has been coaching since 1945, and he's always been an average football coach. I don't know why all of a sudden Mack Brown comes out of retirement and goes to North Carolina and they think he's some great coach. He's not. He's an average coach at best, and Sam Howell has gone backwards. He averaged 3 touchdowns passing a game in his freshman season, and he only averaged about 2.5 touchdown passes a game last season, and they lost those great running backs they had, and they lost those great receivers they had. So I don't know how you can be a 9 or 10 win team with those players and still be a top 10 team without those players. I just didn't see it. But I will say, even though I didn't think they were a top 10 team, I did not think they would lose to Virginia Tech just because of the fact how pitiful the Hokies have been the last 3 or 4 years. But North Carolina's offense was dreadful, and that's being kind. If they can't fix that offense, they may not win 7 games. They looked pitiful. Now, the Hokies have always been known for having a good defense, but last night, North Carolina's offense couldn't score if they were on the field by themselves. They had the transfer running back from Tennessee, Ty Chandler, who is good, but he's nothing great. If you're a 7-win team and you add Ty Chandler, you're still going to be a 7-win team. He's an average running back. He's there, but he's not going to give you no 40, 50-yard runs. He's just not that kind of running back. But they did add him as a transfer from Tennessee. But 17-10 was the final score. It was the first upset of the college football season. Now, of course, if you look over the docket for today's games, you're going to see a lot of ranked teams playing, but the majority of the ranked teams that are playing are also playing ranked teams. So to me, when a ranked team loses to a ranked team, it may be a minor upset, like if number 3 loses to number 20. But if you've got 2 top 20 teams playing, whichever one loses, to me that's not really an upset. But a top 10 team losing to an unranked team is definitely an upset. You also had Michigan State last night beating Northwestern by the score of 38-21. Michigan State got out to a 21-0 lead, and then Northwestern finally started moving the ball, but they couldn't stop the Spartans of Michigan State. And I hope those helmets Michigan State wore last night was a one-time thing and not going to be their new uniforms, because those helmets were absolutely hideous. They were plain, boring, and average, but Michigan State looked better than average last night. Of course, Northwestern's quarterback is Hunter Johnson, who used to be at Clemson, and he was a backup. He wanted to start, so he transferred to Northwestern. The funny part is, when he was at Clemson, in the small amount of time he played, he actually played really good. So there were a lot of Clemson fans that were upset when he transferred because they thought he had a bright future. But since he's gone to Northwestern, he's looked pitiful. So I wonder if any of those Clemson fans still are upset about him transferring. I know I, for one, certainly am not, because he's looked absolutely pitiful. But don't forget, all the action today starts at noon when 2 top 20 teams face off when Penn State plays Wisconsin. You also have Iowa and Indiana. And you also have, of course, Alabama and Miami before the big showdown tonight between Clemson and Georgia. I still would love to get your predictions on what you think the score will be in the Clemson and Georgia game. Don't come back on here next week and say, I told you that was going to be the score, because I've gotten one prediction so far, and that was from my man Chris, who predicted a Clemson win. Whether he's right or wrong, at least he commented and gave me his prediction before the game. And in non-football news, AEW, if you follow along AEW, they have a pay-per-view coming up tomorrow night called AEW All Out. And if you follow AEW, then you probably know that CM Punk came there about 3 weeks ago. He's got his first wrestling match coming up tomorrow night for the first time in 7 years. That's AEW All Out tomorrow night. Enjoy the college football action today. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.